Hi, I'm Teri Lott. I'm a storyteller, a puppeteer, and an author of books for children and families. My newest book, Beyond Happily Ever After, is for anybody who enjoys fairy tales, and I've given them a little twist. Well, it's my favorite time of year. It's spooky season. And so I am recording for you today a story that is not meant for young children. It is called There's Room for One More, and it's what's considered an urban legend. Is it true or not? Catherine was very excited. You see, she had been saving up money for an entire year so that she could make her first trip to New York City. Now, she wanted to go not only because of the wonderful stores there and museums and restaurants, but because there was a five-story department building that had installed an elevator, and she wanted to ride that elevator. Now, she had all of her plans laid out. She caught the train in Cleveland, Ohio, and rode for 12 hours to just outside of New York City. It was a long, hot, dusty, dirty train ride, but Catherine didn't care. She was going to get to go to New York City. Now, she got off the stop before the city because she had made plans to spend the night with friends of her family. The carriage she had arranged for was there, and it rode her to her family friend's home. Now, they had a drive that was semicircular because, after all, it's hard to back up horses, right? And so, if you had the land, then you would have a semicircular drive that the carriage could come in, stop at the house, let off the passengers, and go on its way. Well, Catherine's friends warmly welcomed her, and they chatted, and they had a late supper, and they chatted some more, and finally she found herself stifling a yawn. One of her hosts noticed and said, "Oh, we've kept you up much too late. We'll show you up to your room." They took her to the second floor where the bedrooms were, and the guest room that she was being given was a beautifully appointed room. It faced the front of the house. There was a basin for her to wash up, and she thanked her hosts and got into her night clothes, washed her face and hands, brushed her teeth, and then she got into the bed. Oh, the bed was heavenly. It was a feather bed, and after having been on that train for 12 hours, that bed felt wonderful. She fell asleep right away. But in the middle of the night, she heard a sound. It sounded like horse hooves. And so she got out of her nice warm bed. She pulled back the heavy brocade curtains. She looked out, and there in the drive was a black carriage. Well, actually, it kind of looked more like a hearse, but it couldn't be a hearse because a hearse would have a coffin inside, and inside she could see a few men and women and children. They didn't look very healthy. Their faces were gaunt and pale. And then her attention went to the driver. And he was also a very thin, gaunt-looking man. He was wearing a black cape and black pants and had a black top hat. He tipped the hat and looked up at her. And he pointed at her with his finger and said, "There's room for one more." Oh, a chill went down Catherine's body. She closed the window and pulled together the curtains and jumped into her bed and pulled the covers up over her head. It took her a while, but eventually she fell back to sleep. In the morning, when she woke up, she decided it had all been a dream. She hurriedly washed her face and brushed her teeth and put on her traveling clothes and packed her bag. And she went downstairs to have breakfast with her friends. They were so excited for her, and in no time at all, the carriage that she had arranged for arrived. There were hugs and pecks on the cheek, and off she went. It was a short ride into the city. Oh, New York City. She spent the morning in a museum. She had a wonderful lunch, and then it was afternoon, and she was headed to the department store, that store with the elevator. Well, she had also planned this out. She had decided to shop on each floor. She was doing early Christmas shopping for her family. And then when she got to the fifth floor, she would ride the elevator all the way down. She picked up a few things on the first floor, climbed up the steps to the second, steps to the third, a little shopping there, steps to the fourth floor, a bit more shopping there, and up the steps to the fifth floor. Here she wasn't going to do any shopping, for this was the floor with the fine china and silver, a bit over her budget. But she joined the queue for the elevator. She had packages in her hands. A couple of men got on, a couple of women with children. The car was probably going to be too full. That was okay. She would just wait for the next one. But the elevator operator stepped out. He was a tall, thin, gaunt man with a black suit. And he looked at Catherine and he said, "There's room for one more." And Catherine gulped. And she said, "That's okay. I'll take the stairs." He closed the elevator doors. A little bell sounded and a bit of a whoosh as the elevator started down. And then, thud! The elevator had fallen all 5 flights. There were no survivors. Now, this story is also a cautionary tale. For you see, that elevator had been invented. It's called a safety elevator by a man named Elijah Otis. So whenever you're in an office building or maybe a medical building or a hospital, step in the elevator and look. And if it says Otis elevator, you just might want to take the stairs. There's room for one more. And that's the story. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm Teri Lott. And if you'd like to know more about me, my stories, storytelling, my books that I've written, or being a puppeteer, anything like that, you can contact me at lotts.of.tales@gmail.com. And I hope you have a great spooky season.